one of the biggest principles I believe in, we never worry about how much weight's on the bar. I never worry about it until it's time to worry about it. The actual stimulus of the exercise far outweighs how much weight's on the bar. What I've learned over 10, 11 years is, will they listen? That's coachability is probably, to me, the number one attribute I think lends itself to a successful athlete.
It's time to sit down, keep it real, and cut the bullshit. Welcome to Table Talk. All right, guys, we're back with another episode of Table Talk. Today, my guest is Tim from Heavy Metal and the Texas Boys. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time for the intro because this is already a disaster. So we're just going to let it keep going, is what it is. I got gifts for you guys. I got to make sure the shirt sizes are right. One of them's got the smaller shirt. That's yours. So those are the bigger shirts there. So there's shirts in there. Go ahead and pull that out. There's also a notebook in there. Oh. That the same company that makes our powerlifting belts, I had custom make these books. And then inside there's a coin, which is a live, learn, pass on, which I give to everybody that I feel embodies the vision of Elite FTS, which I feel you guys all do. And so those are for you, and thank you for coming out.
Thank you. We appreciate it, Dave. Thank you.
And we're just going to kind of lean into this mess with your guys are out for the Arnold. This will post after the Arnold. So whatever you say is either going to look really, really good or it's going to look horrible.
Hell yeah.
Right? And so perfect. Yeah. So how's the training been?
Great.
Oh, come on. That's it. Just great.
Just great.
Hey, you're only going to get one word answers out of this.
No, that's not going to happen. No. So how has their training been? You're their coach.
Yeah. So I feel like this is the 6th year we've all been training together.
Yeah.
And like anything in life, I feel like the longer you stay at something, the better you get. So over the 6 years, we've just been sharpening our process. They're stronger, more conditioned, leaner than they've ever been in their lives. And I think they're going to turn some heads. I really do.
Did you guys come into the gym at the same time? Who was first?
I came in 2018.
Yeah.
I was there a year before Nick rolled in.
So you rolled in.
I ruled?
Yeah. So you're the boss.
Yeah. I'm older brother.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
And what did you weigh when you came in? Any strongman experience before you came in?
No strongman. I had a weightlifting experience through like sports and stuff, college. But in terms of strongman, no. And I found the gym on Instagram and I was like, oh, this is a cool gym. And it happens I live down the street from it.
Oh, really? So Instagram isn't totally worthless?
No, it was, yeah. And so I walked in, I met Tim. As soon as I walked from it, I met Tim. And I saw his chalkboard where we kept all the gym records. And, it was a legit gym. It wasn't like a YMCA or I don't know, Gold or whatever it was. And so I was like, oh, this reminds me of like a college weight room. I like this kind of atmosphere.
So what'd you play in college?
I played center, football, and then I wrestled.
Well, both?
Yeah.
How was that?
I had no life. I had no life for college, but it was a lot of fun. I mean, my whole life's been school and sports, so I couldn't imagine not being in multiple sports.
Yeah. And what's your background outside of being 145 pounds, a cross-country runner?
Yeah, so I ran cross-country in high school, continued running up into college, and then started lifting weights, just kind of found the gym, slowly put on some size, had no idea what I was doing, but just kind of fell in love with the process. And then walked into heavy metal. First person I met was Austin.
Yeah.
And laying down flat.
Yeah, laying down flat. Within 5 minutes, called him fat as hell. So, Yeah. And then we were best friends.
The shit talking banter started right away.
So he's like 220?
Yeah.
At that time?
Yeah. I think I walked in the gym 220, 230, something like that.
He looked, and it was...
Not
it wasn't a good look.
Great look.
But he had it in him, so we were able to work with it.
So you're the guy that's working with them, right? So you've been working with strongman athletes forever now.
Yeah.
How did they earn your respect to be able to start working with them?
It took some time, right?
Yeah, it did take some time. So initially when Austin came in, he was a big dude. And so right away I'm thinking, this dude might have some potential. He's just big, I saw him maybe a week or two later in the squat rack squatting. I think it was like 495 for a double, single. And
The light numbers.
at the time, I was trying. It didn't quite work out, but I was trying to phase myself out from coaching and personal training. Yeah, we just had our we just had Timmy, I think it was, our first kid.
Yeah.
I wanted to spend time with Michelle and the kid, and I had some really good people working for me, one of which, her name's Jackie, was my first athlete I ever coached. And everything she knows about lifting, she's learned from me. So I totally trusted her to coach other people because it was just going to be passed on knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And so I, once we convinced him to try a strongman, I gave Jackie the coaching responsibility with Austin.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was actually his coach initially for the first year, maybe year and a half.
Yeah.
Yours too, right?
Yeah, for about
like
6
when you came in
months,
the gym?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like I said, I thought I was going to take more of an ownership role in heavy metal and phase myself out, but it didn't work out, and I learned along the way that I need to be present in the gym. I have to have my hands in the mix a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what'd you weigh in college?
I played ball at 310, and then I would cut to 285 for wrestling. And
I was going to ask,
Yeah.
what'd you wrestle at? So
And then-
you had to cut.
after college, I ballooned up. I was around 340.
Wrestling.
Yeah. I stopped running.
He just do a wrestling tournament every now and then.
Yeah. So, and then I say it's a little funny joke, but my wife's like, "Hey, you need to get back in the gym." And so that's when I started after school, they don't tell you what to do. You kind of just whatever. So I would go to work, and I would come home from work, and after 5, I was like, man, what do people do with their lives, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I slowly found my way back to the gym, and that's how I was like, I need to get back in shape. So all culmination of everything. And then I walked into heavy metal.
Yeah.
And then I ended up on this journey of strongman that's
Taking us to some crazy spots.
Yeah. So how'd that start?
so I remember asking Tim, like, hey, if I find a show, you're gonna coach me? And he was like, no, yeah, we'll hook you up with Jackie. And I was like, all right, cool. So and strongman in Texas is real big. Like, there's always a show going on, at least 3 or 4 a month. And so you can find a show relatively easy, whatever federation it is, whatever. So I ended up finding one in Austin, and I said, "Wow, let's get to it." And then there was one shortly after it that I didn't realize in strongman you have to I thought of it like football, where I'll do one and then a week later I'll do another one. I thought it was a season like that. No, it's you do one show and then you have to back off. I didn't understand lifting in that sense at all. And so I picked these 2 shows about 2 or 3 months apart, and I won both of them. And they're like, "Hey, you probably should take this pretty seriously." So then they're like, "All right, let's start figuring out how to get you to nationals." And we have such a great support system at the gym that it's not even about like if you can go to nationals. It's at our gym, it's almost like going to nationals is just an expected thing to do. Yeah.
So you didn't lose your conditioning from college. So that break wasn't. How long was that break from college until?
No, it was about a year and a half.
Oh shit! So it did suck when you started training.
Oh yeah, the warm-ups were killing me.
Yeah.
And I remember one of my first deadlift sessions in the gym. It was I couldn't lock out 600, and it was in the Bardos
Power center thing.
Power center on reverse bands, so it helped me off the ground.
Yeah.
And I got caught like mid thigh, and then Tim's from the other side. Jimmy's got no ass.
Mm-hmm.
Just yelling at me. And so it was just a wake up call in terms of how out of shape I really was.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no idea. I'm just lifting. This is fun for me. I was just lifting and hitting numbers, whatever. So
what was your inspiration to go into the gym?
Like heavy metal?
Yeah.
So I had been lifting for a couple of years just on my own, just rage lifting, just going in and just.
What is rage lifting?
Your life sucks. You hate everything about your life. And you just want to go in the gym and feel better and get better. And it's the one thing in your life that you can really control, and it makes you feel good, and it inspires you to kind of work on all aspects of your life, not just weightlifting. It's just kind of like a positive thing. And so I had been doing that for a few years. And I didn't really know anything about strongman. I didn't know anything about like serious lifting or powerlifting or weightlifting or anything. I just knew that going in and lifting heavy weights felt good, and it made my mind quiet. It settled my body, and like helped me spiritually and all this kind of stuff. And so I had seen Thor Bjornsson, who I'm competing with this weekend for the first time, but I had seen his YouTube channel, and he's just doing some strongman stuff, and I thought it was super cool. And the college gym that I was going to, UTSA, they were closed for New Year's. So I was like, screw it. I'll go to this gym that all the powerlifters at UTSA are talking about. And so I walk into heavy metal. First person I meet is Austin. And, that day, I think I spent 6 hours or something testing every single strongman equipment that we had. I did circus dumbbell, farmers, log press, yoke. Like I did everything. And I came back the next day and did it. Like my wife now called me and she was like, "Hey, are you alive? Like, what's going on?" Because I was there all day. I didn't eat, didn't rest. I just kept trying to learn. As soon as I don't know, just something clicked. As soon as I started doing these events, it just felt right. Something felt right. The atmosphere felt right. I just felt like I belonged in this space with these people doing this specific movements. Mm-hmm. And, I've had opportunities along the way. Like I have a degree in mechanical engineering, had never used it. I could be off.
We have a funny story about that. This dude tried to put me on a job application as a reference, and he's like, "I just need you to pretend." Like that's what kind of boys we are, you know what I mean? Like, and I was like, "All right." So I got this call from this lady because he was trying to get a job at the time, and I'm like, "Yeah, I've worked with him before." Like I know.
Did it work?
Hell no.
No. But I've gotten offers to like leave the state, and go do engineering other places, and I just can't. I can't. Like there's something. I don't know if it's destiny or whatever, just in my head, but like I know that what the path that we're walking right now is the one. Like it's the path of a lifetime. It's an honor to do this with these guys and to be, now considered among one of the greatest strongmen on the planet. Yeah. To just be in that conversation is crazy to me. Like in my mind, I'm still that little 140-pound skinny kid, climbing walls and running 10 miles a day. So. It just feels right, man. It's just.
What was it like going from the structured football training, wrestling training, because it's more periodized block type of training, into a conjugate type of system that you guys run now?
Well, first of all, I had no idea what peaking was.
Well, obviously, because it's football.
Football.
Yeah.
And then so I remember that first show we did. The last week we're deloading, right? And and I come in and I bring out we had the axle cleaning press for a max, and I brought it out and I was like, I just need to go over it again, like football, like run the plays over again. And they're like, "Bro, you're fine. Like just go home. Like you don't need to be here right now." But no, it was a trip, like learning. Well, first of all, like learning to work out with chains and bands was a whole thing, because I got yelled at so many times on setting them up wrong.
Oh, really?
The wrong way, yeah. Like,
what's the worst way you set them up?
Dangling.
The band's just dangling, not attached?
No. The chains.
That would be the dumbest thing I've ever heard on the podcast. You should have leaned into that one.
No.
The chains go.
Yeah. The chains were hanging off. But they're like, "What are you doing?" I said, "You said chains. I don't know what I'm looking at." Like, that was a trip. Mm-hmm. And then seeing I was like, whenever we got into like strongman, I was like, "Oh, we're gonna be lifting heavy all the time." And then learning how to like use dynamic days to your advantage was a learning curve too, because I just wanted to throw weight on.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What? You're out of position. Like, what the hell are you doing?" Like, there was a lot of those talks.
Mm-hmm. How was it for you? I mean, you're coming from rage lifting, whatever the fuck that is.
It was a long learning curve for sure.
Yeah.
He still gets talked.
Every once in a while I still get a nice little talking to, but it takes time to learn to trust that the peak is going to work. Because in your head, you want to lift heavy to get stronger, and you gain more weight to get stronger. Like there's a special time where you basically just kind of let go of those preconceptions and understand that, the rest and the recovery and the peaking of the weights is what's going to make you stronger. It's not necessarily the weight that you're lifting on the day. You know what I mean? And nobody gives a shit what you're doing in the gym people only care if you're winning shows.
Yeah.
You know,
Tim, on episode 150, we went kind of into the weeds with your training. So anybody that wants to go into the weeds with their training, you can go listen to that. What's the elevator pitch of how would you explain the training that you have these guys do and all your strong people?
Okay, yeah. So if I had to kind of phrase it in a sentence.
Not a sentence. You can use a paragraph.
Well, yeah, I'll expound on
yeah.
But the truth of the fact is, Dave, is that there's no like system that we follow. Like in my opinion, some things have worked really well for us. Some things didn't work as well as I had hoped. And we're always trying to be better. All I care about is getting better show to show. But along this path of coaching people, one thing I have realized that I rely heavily on are just solid ass principles that have shown themselves to be true to me. And there's tons of those principles that I can think of. Like, I'm a big believer in variation. Not just variation of bars, not just variation of exercises, but also variation of range of motion, of tempo. Like he mentioned dynamic effort work, and I like dynamic effort work if you're skilled enough to do the lift the right way, because part of the benefit of dynamic effort work to me is practicing perfect technique. It's also a nice little deload from the heavier work. It can push your work capacity up. But we also like to slow down the tempo. It's not just about being ballistic all the time. Sometimes I think that joint stability, understanding where you are in space at certain parts of the ranges of motion matter. So we like to slow down the tempo. Sometimes we want to work isometric strength. We do pulls against pins all the time. Sometimes we do long pauses. Sometimes we pause in awkward positions. So variation of all types. One of the biggest principles I believe in which is maybe hard for people to grasp, because I got two of the strongest men in the world with us at the gym. And you would think they're lifting heavy all the time, especially Austin deadlifts over 1,000 pounds. We never worry about how much weight's on the bar. I never worry about it until it's time to worry about it. Until we get close to the show. And even then, I'm only kind of checking in and making sure we're progressing in the right direction. For me, the actual stimulus of the exercise far outweighs how much weight's on the bar. And when I think about stimulus of the exercise, a lot of times I'm thinking about the positioning that the person's in, building what we're trying to build. Somebody like Austin, who's just a natural born squatter, he may be getting the perfect stimulus with 600 pounds. But somebody like Nick, who's not as built to squat, may only be using 365. They're both at the same level, both prepping for the same competition, but I don't care what weight's on the bar. Positioning for me far outweighs how much weight. Like I said, when you're asked to do certain things, like if he has his last contest, he had 825 for reps on an axle, 825. Mm-hmm. And there are points in the preparation where I want to make sure we're progressing, and so I will be a little more specific, but almost as a test. 90% of our building strength comes from other movements. But positioning, not only working on the skill of the lift to get the stimulus we need, but I was talking to Nick about this the other day. I think another principle about positioning and that being locked all the way in is that it's so much easier to recover when you're not out of position. So I just don't let them get out of position on anything, unless it's one of those kind of dress rehearsals for the contest, because not only do I want them to be skillful with the lifts and get the stimulus we want from the lift, but I also want them to recover workout to workout to workout so we can stack them up. And for me, that's another big principle we believe in. We're very skillful with the lifts. We're not just throwing weights around. On the accessory work, probably especially, because when I ask for chest supported rows, lat pull downs, reverse hypers, back attacks, whatever the case may be, all I care about is building the strength or building the tissue that we're trying to build. And that might mean using a 25 on the back attack with a red band, which is hella light, But if that's what he needs to be synced up with the movement, then that's what we're going to use. I never force weight on the bar just out of, ego.
So how do you know they're progressing and getting stronger?
Only because I've been with them so long, and I can watch virtually any lift and tell if we're on the right track, not just in the power of the lift, but the work capacity, the ease, or the exertion level of the lift. But don't get it twisted. We do practice the events. It just may not be as heavy as the contest warrants, or it may be time restricted, or it may be a partial range of motion. Like when I think about a log clean and press, I can think of 4 or 5, 6 different ways to train that movement without training that movement. You know what I mean?
And I think one of the reasons why Tim is so exceptional at what he does is because I feel like you get so much more out of a workout when you are told exactly what you're trying to get from each movement. And he goes crazy specific with why we're doing the tempos, why we're doing the pauses, or whatever he's asking for that specific movement. He'll explain exactly how it's carrying over to our events so we can visualize exactly what part of the movement that we're trying to hit while we're doing these accessory movements. And it builds that connection, those neural pathways to associate these accessory movements and workouts and strength building, exercises to the actual events without touching them.
So how do you guys deal with that when your meathead brain wants to go ahead?
Oh, it's crazy.
Muscle fuck things.
When we
can hear his voice.
Yeah, we hear his voice, but there was a time a long time ago, I think there was like the second, third year that we were, it was an exercise. We were doing seal rows with the Swiss bar and,
read the notes.
Read the notes, like for real. The detail that this man goes into is so intentional that there's a reason. Don't waste his time, because when he puts it in there, he means it, and there's a reason for it. Yeah. But there was the one day we were like, all right, well, that's never gonna happen again. He made me feel like I disappointed my dad and my whole family lineage. We're doing seal rows, and it was like a cluster set, whatever. We're doing 8 sets or whatever, and we're going and. We're doing the work, and hell yeah, we got the work. Oh yeah, put the weight on, whatever. And then he goes, hey, you're not doing them right. He comes by. He said, did you read the notes? And we're like, I was like, yeah, we're just doing seal rows. He goes, no, he didn't. He walks away. I read the notes, and it says change hand position every set. And the reason why he knew that we didn't is because there was chalk on only one hand. So it was like, and then after you felt like disappointing your dad, you know what I mean? You're like,
well, he'll explain. He'll be like, this is why I had y'all do that. I'm not going to waste my time spending, an hour writing these workouts and writing out a whole paragraph of what exactly I want and why we want it. Mm-hmm. If you're just not going to read the notes and you're just going to see, okay, Swiss bar rows and just go,
Mm-hmm.
So you got, and then that kind of detail in the workout he's putting in has pushed us to the detail in any aspect of life, whether it's my work, recovery, being with my wife. Like I just details everything now. Now I've learned that principle at the gym. Yeah. It's crazy.
And I think it's almost inarguable that it's working, because Austin and I are 2 completely different athletes coming from completely different backgrounds, coming basically to the same point at the very tippy top of the sport. So I think it's almost inarguable, that it's effective.
And our first pro was a 140-pound woman.
Yeah.
Like we've gone the whole spectrum of pros. Yeah. And it's not just me, and that's obvious. It has to be the right type of person. Like I can tell, and they know I'm really selective nowadays with if I'm going to spend my time, energy, effort in helping somebody compete. I have a whole staff of trainers now. They're awesome, most of which have trained under me at some point, and I want them to be successful. So most of the time, if somebody comes in and they want to compete, they're not going to be trained by me. Shoot, they're so detailed oriented now that I can give them to Nick. They're coaches at the gym as well, and I can just trust what they're going to provide for that athlete. But what I was going to say is, when I look at somebody and the potential they have as far as should I take this person on, or can this person really become something? On surface level, you want to look at their genetics, their physical makeup. Are they strong already? Do they work hard? And all that stuff matters. But what I've learned over 10, 11 years is, will they listen? That's coachability is probably, to me, the number one attribute I think lends itself to a successful athlete.
How many are going to listen from the jump?
Females listen better than our first group of pros were all female. Like there was a time at heavy metal where literally the women ran the gym. They were the alphas of the gym. And I think I used to get pissed at the dudes. I'd be like, bro, like y'all need to step your shit up. You know what I mean? This is getting gosh dang embarrassing. Cause we didn't have a pro strongman from the gym that was a man, but I just found that women had less ego. They weren't obsessed with lifting heavy. They had to be more technical. They had to be more efficient with the lifting. But you're right. Most people aren't gonna listen as carefully as you would hope right away. Our journey's been 6 years. I don't know if I have another 6-year journey in me with somebody brand new. You know what I mean? Because at this point now, where they're at, I know what it takes, how much time, effort, energy, traveling, ups and downs, and it's a real roller coaster. And this weekend's just going to be another chapter of that. But you're right. Most people aren't going to listen right away. You have to earn their trust, and you should have to earn their trust. And if you're going to take somebody on as an athlete, I would hope that you're willing to put in that time and effort.
Yeah. So how do you all take the ups and downs?
I'm just happy to be lifting weights. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, like I'm always so grateful of what we're doing, and like it's really hard to like not think about where we come from, like parking lot shows and just some of the worst conditions, like driving some sketchy places to now competing at the Arnold, you know what I mean? So like I don't, at the end of the day, whether it's a good day, bad day at the gym, whatever, it's like, man, I get to lift weights and I'm traveling the world doing it.
Yeah. He always like that?
I don't think so. Like I think there's a maturation you're seeing now that evolved. You know what I mean? I remember the first time he competed at the Shaw Classic, and we're warming up, and Zydrunas Savickas is warming up right next to us, and there's definitely a time where you're overwhelmed by the moment, including myself. The shit was a trip, but once you start doing well in these big shows, and he starts accepting the fact that because I've been telling him almost since we started working together that his just makeup, he's just naturally stronger than most men. Even these guys at the top. A lot of these guys at the top, they're big dudes, but they're big dudes because I feel like they just take a lot of shit. Like this is legit a big dude, a big, strong dude. And I've been telling them for a long time, I think you're just stronger than these guys, most of them. Just straight up stronger. And I think it took him some real successes amongst that group to be as confident as he is now. You know what I mean?
When did you start to believe in that?
Last year when I made the finals at Worlds. That was like, oh damn, I'm really in it. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah. And then I think the real like part where I was like, I can really be world's strongest man or Arnold champion was when we did the awards at Worlds and like seeing the podium and like, damn, I'm really that close to it. Like that took me to that point to realize like it's obtainable. It's in the reaching distance. Mm-hmm. And so I think in this last year, in terms of like the stuff outside of training, like the recovery, nutrition, all that stuff, I've stepped the game up 100% because seeing how close I was at World's Strongest Man. But that's it was really at that point that I was like, oh damn, I'm in it. Like I'm on TV lifting weights with dudes I've been looking up to that now are peers.
Yeah. So where's your mindset at?
I mean, I don't think I'll ever feel like I've done it, like I've proved what I wanted to prove. I feel like I'll always, like the reason why I love lifting so much is just because I like the process of getting better and stronger and being in that mental space where, you have to be locked in and improving all the time or else you'll, just be done. You'll be forgotten. You just get worse. So I just really like the process. I mean, I don't know. I really don't know. I feel like I haven't gotten to that point yet where I'm like, yeah, I'm in it. I'm in it here. You know, I feel like I still have a long way to go.
Shit.
I mean,
the welcome to the NFL moment, he's gonna have it this weekend. Watch.
Yeah.
We'll see. And I just feel like it's also very important to keep your ego in check when you're in that building preparation phase for a show. Like you want to check your ego at the door from day one of prep until the last day of prep, so that you're, you know, receiving information and, you know, you're trying to grow and you understand that you know, if you let off the gas at all, you know, you're going to be passed up, and like, just leave your ego at the door, bring it out on game day. You know, you're the greatest of all time on game day. You can't be beat. Fuck you. I'm going to win. Like, I don't care who the fuck you are. I'm coming here to win. And, you know, I feel like you have to throttle that ego back and forth. And I just feel like maybe just today, that's how I feel, but we'll see, man. We'll see.
This will be fun. This will be fun.
It's gonna be a good weekend.
I love, now that I've like in the situation, I love feeding off the crowd now.
Oh yeah. Oh God, I get so much out of it.
Like, that's fun for me now.
Yeah.
So now it's like, now I get to put on a show, and now I get to go to these big shows. Like, I'm itching for it now. That's the kind of stuff I'm.
So you love each other now, but come game day, you're gonna hate each other.
No.
You know what's crazy is we've never really, like, he's my boy. That's the thing. Like,
Yeah.
his success, my success, always.
Yeah.
Even with Tim, like when Tim first got on Table Talk a long time ago, man, I was like, I couldn't believe it. Like, I was telling everyone, I'm like, you don't realize how big this podcast is. Like people outside the lifting world and just anyone at the gym too. It's just not between us. It's the culture that's developed at the gym. Like, whether it's a powerlifting meet or CrossFit this, or I don't know, whatever they're doing, or the guy, Ruben, when he got the fire, when he went through Fire Academy, just, man, I'm backing everyone up. Like, and so even when, like, I want to see Nick do well, but at the end of the day, too, I'm trying to beat him.
Yeah.
But that just goes back to the training. Like, when we're in training, like, we're not going to bullshit around. I'm going to make sure he knows everything. So he's giving me his best effort. I can give him my best effort. Because if we ever hide anything from each other, then no one's getting better at that point.
So, and I don't want to beat him by doing underhand bullshit, like letting him squat wrong during prep or some shit like that. Like, I want to beat him at his absolute best, and I'm going to make sure that he's training every fucking day and doing everything outside of the gym to be his absolute best, because when I do beat him, I'm going to know that it was because he was at his best and I was just better.
Well, that makes the shit talking way better.
That's right. But at the same time, like, I love him like a brother. I want the absolute best for him. If he beats me at a show, fuck yeah, dude. Proud of you, man. You know, in the back, we're going to be cracking jokes and having a great time. We're going to go right back to training and giving it our absolute best, no matter what happens during the weekend. And it's just, it's a brotherhood in its positive competitiveness. It's not, there's no toxicity to it at all. And I feel like that, it's like a multiplier, you know, like to have that rivalry, but to have no negative emotions associated with it, I feel like just amplifies that feeling tenfold, you know?
How do you cultivate this culture that they're describing?
Oh, that's
because
just
gyms are gyms.
Yeah. But I feel like every gym takes its tone from whoever's in charge of the gym. Yeah. And me personally, I just can't be around somebody that doesn't want my best. And I'm not going to be that type of person towards somebody else. Those type of people don't make it in heavy metal very long. They just don't. They either weed themselves out or I weed them out. You know what I mean? We're on some real gangbang shit. Gangster shit, I should say.
Yeah, that's another conversation.
Oh my God.
That goes back to the first day in the gym, right?
Clip that.
Yeah.
And I'm out, boys.
Let's edit that out. But what I was trying to get across, and I didn't do the greatest job, but
that's all right.
Like when you're within the walls of heavy metal, like, we love you. I love everybody in the gym, and whatever their goal is, it's important to me. Like, these guys are competing at World's Strongest Man in a couple of weeks. Shit, the Arnold Classic in a couple of days. But, I can think of other people at the gym that are making just as much progress in their own ways. Like, Angela lost 100 pounds recently, 100 pounds, the right way, you know? Like he said, we've had people graduate from the fire academy, graduate college, get married, have kids. Like, all that shit matters to me. You know what I mean?
Are you looking to boost recovery, enhance your sex drive, and improve performance in the gym? Do you think your hormones are out of whack and you're tired of getting the runaround from your doctor? You know, things like your hormones are just fine, stop lifting heavy weights, etc., etc., etc. I know what that feels like, as I've been down that road most of my life. This is why we've partnered with Merrick Health. Merrick Health is a premium telehealth platform that specializes in hormone optimization and preventative medicine, ensuring a better quality of life. Merrick Health offers a table talk panel tailored for our listeners, featuring comprehensive tests like total and free testosterone, sensitive estradiol, and advanced markers like lipoprotein A and IGF-1. These comprehensive panels of up to 84 carefully selected biomarkers allow you to identify areas of enhancement and maximize your physical, cognitive, and sexual performance. It's much different than the panels you may get from your doctor. Choose between self-service options where you can select lab panels based upon decades of experience, or opt for guided optimization with your own health coach. Start with a detailed breakdown of your labs and receive personalized treatment options, both over the counter and prescription. Visit merrickhealth.com/tabletalk and use the code TABLETALK to get 10% off your first order. Merrick Health isn't just about better health, it's about empowering you to take control of your well-being.
And the craziest part is, like, it doesn't matter if Austin's about to deadlift 1,000 pounds or some girl's about to hit a 135 deadlift for the first time. The whole gym will stop and surround them and just hype them up to the max. It's really an interesting experience. Like, if someone's trying to get hyped up and they need support, everybody in the gym will stop. It's really been like, that community has just been so thoroughly ingrained in everybody at the gym that it's second nature now, I feel like.
When you want to talk about, like, coming from the top, like, as soon as I walked into a gym, I knew Tim would take his shirt off his back for me.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it comes from. Michelle, the same thing. You know her. Like, there's so many times people, like, COVID happened and everything was shut down and they're handing out equipment. Like, hey, we still need to train, borrow a bar, here's some plates. You know what I mean? It's stuff like that where it's like, you're gonna get away from that? Yeah. So
Something you said that in your answer that kind of clicked with me real quick is there's a quick turnaround between the Arnold and the World's Strongest Man.
Yeah.
So how do you manage that programming wise?
Shit, they're already going to be strong. That's the thing. Like, this was a heavy show we had to prepare for. So I'm gonna let them heal up a little bit. And then we're just gonna get real skillful we don't even know the events yet. So everybody's kind of in the same boat. You know, when you get to this level, it's the same guys doing the same shows. So we're not at any sort of disadvantage. They're already going to be as strong as they've ever been. We'll get the events and we'll be smart about our approach. More than likely, it's not going to be as heavy as this show. Historically, it hasn't been.
It can't be. I mean, there's triple the amount of events.
Word. So I'm not worried about it.
Yeah. But I mean, one of the mottos too that we kind of pass around the gym is just, we stay ready. We stay ready. We're ready for any opportunity. We stay prepped. We stay good. So,
and that's kind of like, you know, if Conjugate taught me anything, it's like, we're always training everything.
Yeah.
Straight up. Like, and doing it in a way that's strategic that we recover from it. You know what I mean? So if these guys had to do, like, shit, he had to do, when you won the Shaw Classic, he had to do Giants Live. They invited him to do Giants Live maybe a week later. Was it
2 weeks? They called. Yeah, it was funny. I won Sunday. Monday I flew back. Tuesday after work, I was on a phone call calling Bryce, and he says, "We want you to come to the deadlift championships in Wales." And I said, "Well, that's next week." And he goes, "Yeah, we're gonna fly you out." And I was like,
"How soon before Shaw was World's Strongest Latino that you won?"
A month.
Yeah, so it was like back to back to back.
I won a show called World's Strongest Latino, and then that was in Portugal. Came back, won the Shaw Classic Amateur, and then a week and a half, 2 weeks later, I went to the Giants Live and I pulled 950 for the first time raw. Everyone was in suits, and we never trained in suits.
Yep.
And the opening weight was 400 kilos, and then the second attempt was 430. and I'm not going to say no to those guys. So I'm just going to go out and lift. And so at the time, 880, the 400 kilos was a PR, and I ripped it off the ground, and it went so fast. I was like, it got me hyped. I was like, oh shit, I've never deadlifted anything really that flew off the ground like that. And mind you, I'm by myself in Wales in a different country. and then the next attempt was loaded, and they're like, all right, you going for it? I was like, okay, why not? So I pulled that. I had to hitch the hell out of it, but I still pulled it. And that was kind of like, I was like, damn, I can hang with these dudes. I learned that then. I can hang with these. And they're all wearing suits and stuff.
Yeah.
They had the...
That still brings in a programming mess, right? Because there's going to be somewhat of a deload beforehand.
Oh,
right?
I think I...
And then you're trash from doing the event the week after.
Mm-hmm.
Then when you start stringing all those together, you know, how do you manage that?
It's not sustainable. You cannot compete like that sustainably.
Yeah, yeah.
You have to keep your ego in check at this level to be able to tell like certain promoters, no, I need to chill. Like I need to take a month or two.
Yeah.
But there's a little gap in your career when you're transitioning from the amateur to the pro scene where you basically have to say yes to any fucking show they give you, because like you need the exposure and the opportunities and to get your name out, and so there's a small gap where you're just like, all right, we're going through the gauntlet, and you just gotta
right now Nick's going through that gauntlet.
Yeah.
He won OSG in December.
Yeah.
He's got the Arnolds this week, and then we got Worlds.
And then Giants Live.
A couple months, and since he won OSG, he got a Giants Live, which they mainly do their shows in summer, so he might have a 2-week turnaround then.
Yeah. So basically, I've been in competition prep or like in season for the past August and a half. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you guys manage? Because there's a whole other aspect of this, and this is getting invited.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So that is a promotional aspect. Yeah. Because they're not going to invite somebody that's just a deadbeat. Right. Yeah. So how do you manage that to be able to bring that up? You know, because I don't want to say all the time, but Instagram following can matter, right? So a lot of people who may be listening that want to get a strongman, they don't have that, right? So they got to have that personality.
Yeah.
So how do you get the invites and the personality to be able to have the promoters want to have you there?
Yeah.
Because it's not all about strength.
Yeah. I don't have a big Instagram. I think I have like 4,000 followers, like just nothing. But I think like when I talk to these people like Colin Bryce and Darren Sadler and stuff, I don't know. I feel like it's just, I'm good at making friends. I'm good at conversating with people. I'm good at making people laugh. I enjoy making people laugh. And I think they remember that. And they also remember that, okay, I can bang some weights and I can win some shows.
You gotta be a good person to be around.
Yeah. And I feel like that entertainment factor, like even though I don't have the social media following, I feel like I have a certain entertainment factor, and it kind of balances out, you know, that. I mean, I feel like they can see the potential.
Well, at the pro level, there's media that you have to be able to do, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
you got to be able to talk. You got to be able to make clips, you know?
That like wrestling persona I had to learn in the last year. And it really came from my deadlift that one year. In Wales, I did it without a suit, and I hit that 950. And then something came over me to do like this and to the crowd. And I was like, and everyone kind of went like, oh shit, you did it without a suit. And then I started adding boom after my lifts, and that kind of took off. And then I was like, well, all right, I gotta kind of run with this, because I started noticing on like these Instagram posts, oh, Smash goes boom. Oh, that's my nickname too. It's Smash. And so once you like, there's guys that get invites a lot just based on their personality.
Yeah.
And
marketability.
And so if you can have that and be strong, you're gonna go to all these shows.
Yeah. Well, they need that to promote the event.
Yeah.
So essentially, it's just taking the shit talking that you do in the gym and making it politically correct on a bigger stage.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen any of our Texas Boys YouTube stuff, but it's just us goofing around and just.
I think that's another thing too, like, because we don't take ourselves too seriously. Yeah. And so like when you see that footage of us, and that's really us, like we're just bullshitting the whole time. It's fun for us. And then when it's time to lift weights, we'll get serious. Yeah. And then so you get this joking camaraderie of brothers, and then you get the serious lifting.
I was cracking up watching the Q&A one that you just did.
Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah.
We've got better ones.
There's better ones than that. I was cracking the hell up about that.
Hell yeah. But I feel like you got to have a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, just, and you can't take yourself too seriously all the time. It's the same thing with the ego that I was talking about before. You got to be able to have some fun. And when we're training together, that's what it is. You know, it's 4 hours of us fucking around, having a good time. But then as soon as we're, locked in for those top sets, like we're fully engaged with
until he comes around, starts yelling at you for using.
It's funny because we'll be like, "Oh, Dad's watching."
Yeah. But
get right.
No, there's a flip we switch, or a switch we flip.
Yeah, that works.
And
Either way.
but like we're goofy and then we get serious at the same time. It's just us. It's just how we do it.
Yeah, they got a legit big brother, little brother kind of relationship.
Wait, who's big brother?
Yeah,
Austin's big brother.
Yo, what? Like physically or like
Both.
I feel like mentally.
Oh, dude, don't touch me, bro.
but it's like totally genuine. They're best of friends. They're with each other. They're with each other a lot. Like when they come in to train, I think Austin gets there a little earlier, maybe around 5 o'clock. Nick strolls in around 6. But I mean, they don't leave until about 9:30. And that's 4 days a week, and so they spend a lot of time together. And, as goofy as they are and as fun as they also are ferocious competitors. Like I can't think, I'll take that back. I was about to say, I can't think of a time you guys have had a bad show, but
I mean, 6 years is gonna happen.
Yeah. It very rarely happens. When it's time to compete,
Make a note. Bad show. Okay, continue.
Yeah, but when it's time to compete, these guys don't play around. Austin's background of athletics, it is what it is. He's just a lifetime competitor. But and he's been trained to do this since he was a kid, I'm sure. I can only think of one time he's actually made a mistake in a competition.
Mm-hmm. We almost got in a fist fight over it.
Yeah, we were all pissed about that shit. But what
are you writing down there, dude?
Fist fight.
Fist fight.
There's a couple stories.
We're coming back here.
I can't wait.
Well, I love this. I'm making all kinds of notes.
We'll reenact it right now.
When it comes to Nick, though, for somebody that doesn't have that athletic background, and I tell people this all the time.
Athletic coaching background. He's an athlete. It's just
he's athletic, yeah. But I'm talking about somebody. He didn't play college sports or anything like that. But when it talks to straight up, when I think of a straight up mental strength, straight up self-confidence, like true self-belief, man, this kid is something different, something totally different. He was telling me he was going to be one of the world's strongest men when,
I was barely deadlifting 400 pounds.
It didn't even make sense.
When you were rolling your eyes?
Yeah, and I didn't think twice about it because it was stupid. And but people tell you shit all the time. And I'm
I get it.
Yeah, sure. All right. But this man has, over the years, he's never wavered on it. He's put in the time, the work, the discipline. Like his whole day revolves around getting better in the sport. Like straight up. Every meal, his sleep, like he just doesn't miss his recovery. And he's walked that walk for the last 5 years. And his words have become true. I've never seen anything like that. Something that was just so ridiculous at one point that now to this day, we're about to go out and compete against the other 8 best guys in the world. And when he told me that, he was deadlifting maybe 545, maybe.
For a single too.
Yeah, I think he's special. I think I don't know if I've met anybody with that type of self-belief.
So when you talk about this fist fight mistake, what was that?
What do you want to do?
Whoever's funnier.
You do it.
Okay. Whoa. Oh, all right. So it was.
I'll be your competitor doing the wheelbarrow.
It was nationals, and it was like my year to get my pro card. Like I was one of the better guys in the nation. This show was set up for me. Like I was it, and then we had a wheelbarrow race for 50 feet, and I take off. I'm hauling ass, and I get cocky, and I decide to look like as I'm beating people, right? And I look, and the wheelbarrow turns on me, and I slide across, and I get like this 5-second penalty win. I went from like first to like 8th on there, whatever. And I'm like, everyone's pissed off at me, like, you dumbass, why are you doing that, right? And that was the last time I ever been cocky like that.
It was pure showboating. He was looking back at second place, the guy in the standings, and this was like one of the last events. And he's midway. He's like 3 paces in front of everybody else. Was about to put on a clinic, winning time by far. And he's like, what's up, pussy? Like, you know, to the side.
Boom.
And then he turns and slides.
And I go from taking, like, I was going to get my pro card third, and then I end up taking fifth because of that one event. And when it was go to the back, and I'm like, I'm pissed, right? But my old sports background is next play, right? All right, forget about it. Let's go next play. He doesn't next play it.
I come in the back fucking hot.
Fucking dumbass, what are you doing, you stupid?
He's like, you just lost your fucking pro card, dumbass. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Me. And I'm like, Nick, you need to get the hell out of my face, bro. Like, you need to get out. And mine, we're in the athlete area too, where there's
just like all 150 people there. Yeah.
And I said, Nick, get out of my face. I get up and I push him, right? And then Nick goes like, yeah, that's what I told her. So I can't remember, but we was like, we're almost in a fight. I was like looking at, I was like, and I walked back and I was like, I was just so pissed. And yeah, that was almost fist fight.
And it was like, even it was exacerbated because I was also having a really shitty show. Like, that's probably the one time that I had.
Oh, so you can deflect it off on him.
Yeah. Well, because like
he had a worse show than you did.
Yeah,
I get it.
Well, because he was gonna win. He was like, he had done so well on the first like 4 or 5 events. He was gonna win. The last 2 events were phenomenal for him. It was locked in. And then he goes and does some stupid shit. Meanwhile, I'm over here at my first nationals. This is like your second or third.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to fight for my life. Like, I'm like in 40th place or some shit. Like, I'm garbage. And so I come in the back. I'm already pissed off because I had like shit the bed on axle press or whatever. I'm like, dude, you're shit in the bed. I'm shit in the bed. What the fuck are you doing looking around like that? Like, get your shit together. Like, you're the last hope of our gym, dude. I need you to represent.
But those talk about it. Those are those shows though that really built us.
Yeah. And we've never forgot those lessons.
No, you're not going to do that again.
No, we're not going to do that again. But it was like it hasn't been all roses and butterflies. Like there's been some like a lot of learning in the show or in Strongman because everything's different. So every event's different, every show's different. So whether it's that specific event you mess up on or how you prepared for it or whatever, but it's been a lot of learning from day one.
Was that the worst show?
For me, it was by far the worst show I've ever had.
Yeah, I guess.
It wasn't all that bad of a show. Just that moment.
Yeah,
so
ruined it.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to get your pro card. Back when they were running it, like it was top 3 at nationals, and it was the first amateur at the Arnold in the pro-am.
That's a whole another year you got to wait.
Yeah, so you gotta know your training, and then you got to go through this meat grinder of a show. Because you never know. Every year it could be from 50 to 80 athletes. And if you mess up,
it's over.
Yeah.
You're done.
And you never know. Like, there's some kid that comes out of the woodwork that's just absolutely monstrous, knocks you off the spot.
That doesn't have an Instagram, that doesn't,
you've never seen. He comes out of the corn-fed motherfucker from Iowa.
17-year-old kid that just starts, like, what? How?
Yeah.
What's the process now? So being a pro, has it changed?
That's the same process.
It's the same thing. Yeah. I mean, I think, the attention to detail is just shot to the roof. Like,
what do you mean?
Like, we're talking about getting the pro card process.
Oh, the pro card. Well, I ended up getting my pro card. The next year they did a pro-am series where they did 3 shows because I think there was a lot of pros that retired. So they needed to up the pros. And so they did these 3, and I ended up, instead of going to the Arnolds, I went to a show down in Southern Texas, near South Padre, that offered if you made the podium, but it was a pro-am. So you had some pretty good dudes that were going, and ended up taking second at that show, and I got my pro card there, which got me an invite to America's Strongest Man at the end of the year at the Olympia. So that's how I started my little pro process in Strongman Corp. And then that's totally different from like the major circuit too.
Yeah.
So like you can have your pro card, but that don't mean you're going to World's Strongest Man.
Hey, real quick, do you realize that show you got your pro card in, you, Bobby Thompson, Lucas Hatton, and Nick are all competing this weekend?
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, they were all there. This little show down in Texas. 4 of them.
Yep.
4 best in the world. That's a trip.
Is there any difference in how you prepare if the show's inside or outside?
Yeah. If you're pressing, you better be pressing out. If you're gonna press outside, go press outside, because you got to get used to if there's gonna be no clouds. It's the same thing like shooting a basketball in an arena. You have to, your depth perception's everything. So
because when you're looking up on the log, you kind of use the ceiling and the rafters as like a point of reference to know where if you're falling forward or back with balance. So if the sky's moving or if the clouds are moving, your like equilibrium's thrown off. So you got to practice.
No. I think it's worse if there's nothing in the sky.
Yeah, that too. Or if
it's
the sun's in your eyes or whatever. Yeah.
But and then we kind of get lucky training in San Antonio, Texas. It's hot all the time, so like we're used to training in the worst. And
with strongman specifically, like we use tacky for the Atlas stones. So we trained for a long time just putting the tacky straight on our skin, and it worked fine for Texas weather. But anytime we would go to an arena show where it's air conditioned, it would just peel right off because it's too cold. So we had to figure out like, okay, we know that this show is going to be in an arena. We're going to have to put tape and, make sure that the skin is nice and clean and dry, then put the tacky on the tape so that it doesn't peel off in a cold setting. So, and like what kind of tacky, like mix the tacky. So just learning stuff like that.
That would be the details that you were talking about.
Yeah, it's. I mean, and you just go back to like Brian Shaw and how he doing his show really taught me that, because I seen him warm up backstage. You kind of like he's really like that, where he wants to know the exact seconds between athletes. He wants to know how much time he's got here. Everything to the detail, and I saw it firsthand at the Shaw Classic when he won his last show, when he was getting warmed up back there, and I'm just like, damn, he's like, that's really what he does. And so, he doesn't, on his YouTube channel, he talks about it too. That's legit. So I was like, we got to start doing that too. So where
no detail overlooked.
Yeah. He would go to Worlds and
kind of like reading the notes.
Kind of like reading the notes. Yeah, I'm telling you.
Go ahead, continue.
Yeah. But he would take 6 different grades of tacky, and then two days before the actual event, he's having guys test which tacky is going to work best that day or for that environment. Because if you're on the coast, it might be different than if you're in Colorado. It might be different if you're
the type of stone that you're using and all that shit.
So that attention to detail is everything too. So, but what's also cool about that is because we have this kind of conjugate background that we're ready for anything. So really too, at the end of the day, yeah, the more attention to detail we put on it is only going to push us farther, because we're going to be ready for anything.
Well, because you're, for a deadlift, for instance, you're pulling from all different heights, different scenarios.
Yeah.
Whether it's like the tires have a different bounce, the bar is going to be slightly different grip or diameter. I've pulled on some crazy like car deadlifts where the pivot point's different, so the weight's gonna hit you below your knee, after your knee. But the only way you really do that is just rotating exercises all the time. And so I go into anything very confident, prepared.
What's the dumbest thing you've seen them do in the gym?
The dumbest thing.
There's a lot of them.
Oh, I know. Well, I mean, maybe once every couple of weeks they're wrestling somebody in the middle of the turf, like legit ass wrestling.
No, these dudes think they can take me down. It was my birthday not too long ago, and they're like,
"You're a college wrestler."
Yeah, we're gonna go get them. And they had 3 of them were gonna try to take me down. Didn't work. I ended up taking one of them down.
We got you down.
No, I cradled one of them down. And
just because you tripped over a mat.
No, I did not trip.
Doesn't mean we didn't take it.
Watch the video. It's on YouTube. Go watch the video. I didn't get...
When you say 3 of them, it's like 3 at once. So it is that gangbang that we were talking about.
Yes. That's not a part of the culture.
Yeah. But it took 3.
Well, no, it did take 3 because I didn't get it.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. There was 2 little 160-pound guys and me.
So two guys.
Sorry, Will.
Go watch the video because I didn't get I took someone down. And then
you got taken down while you were taking someone down. I single legged him into oblivion onto the mat. Yep.
I sprawled on him so hard he had no idea what hit him. And then I cradled someone into a circus dumbbell, and I was like,
"And then what'd you do?"
When you're getting gangbanged like that,
and keep in mind, this is like 2 weeks before we got to.
No, I got a follow-up question coming in.
When you're getting attacked, when you're getting jumped, you got to focus. You got to focus on one and take out one. And if you can, and then you can work your way around. If you start to go after 3, you're putting yourself in a bad situation. So I saw the guy that's actually a jujitsu instructor, and I was like, I need to get rid of him first.
Yeah.
And when you got him on the ground, what'd you do? Because me and Richard were beating.
I I started grabbing inner thigh.
No, he grabbed his dick and twisted.
No, I didn't do that.
You dick grabber. Yeah, you are.
I know. I've been in college wrestling, so I know ways out of this stuff. You ain't cheating, you ain't trying. So I was grabbing inner thigh. I was pinching the shit out of it, and then he was like, "Get him off of me! Get him off of me! It hurts." But yeah, go watch the film back. You'll see that.
So is this part of your restoration protocol, or how does this exactly help your training?
Well, this wasn't since it was my birthday. They decided they
got to beat his ass 31 times. It's his birthday.
They needed to do the
So then it was part of your restoration. I'm just trying to figure out how this fits.
It was just part of my.
This wasn't in the notes.
Yeah,
it's part of like my mental therapy. You know, like it's just.
There's never any point to where you think this might be dumb as fuck to do.
I mean, the whole time, honestly, because like he's a fucking good wrestler. He's got a lot of weight and he's got a lot of knowledge. So like you try him, you're not moving him. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So like there was no way I was taking him down on my own. So I needed the help of the other.
This doesn't sound like a one-off. He said every couple weeks.
Okay. Oh, it all started when his birthday a couple years ago. Me and Trey Mitchell took him down and gave him his, and so like he just needed to pay it back.
Yeah.
But
so it's not like every other week.
No, it is. It just
that's just the wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they're insane in the best of ways, but you know,
we're getting better about trying not to do stupid shit as it gets close to a competition. We're getting better about it. We're like, no, we're a month out. No stupid.
Well, yeah, I mean, a year from now, we'll be like, yeah, we were doing stupid shit. I popped my bicep, you know.
Jeez.
Yeah, see?
Do it. Knock on it. Dave, knock on it.
Yeah.
You got any other examples, son? Stupid shit we've done?
oh my goodness. Off the top
Just
of
the
my
fact that you have to ask him is crazy.
And I know
you already know.
Yep.
You're just seeing what he remembers, so you know what.
And I'm not. I have a couple off the top of my head, but I'm not bringing them up. We'll see what he remembers.
I remember that one time we were setting up for a strongman contest. Well, maybe this is heroic. I thought it was stupid, but remember the building was on fire and you just started running towards the fire.
Hey, dude.
Hey, me and Tim in the back like, what?
You can call me a hero, okay? I tried to save lives that day, okay?
Bro, the building was on fire and somebody's yelling, fire, fire. And you can see the flames through the windows. And I'm like, oh shit. I start backing up. He runs towards the fire.
You got to make sure everybody's out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It could have been heroic, but to me, it was kind of stupid.
If you're anything like me, you're going to live in t-shirts and hoodies, maybe jeans here and there. So with Elite FTS apparel, we have a wide variety, so you don't have to wear the same shirt every single day. Strength isn't just in the gym, it's how you live. What better way to live than wearing Elite FTS apparel? We have apparel in hoodies, t-shirts, tank tops, limited edition drops to where we never bring them back again. So if you get it, you're gonna be one of the few that's wearing it. Sweatpants and any other apparel that you can think of, we have on the site. Hats, they're durable, so it will last a long period of time, won't fall apart in a week, and is easy to care for. Just throw it in the wash, throw it in the dryer, and you're done. Head over to elitefts.com, top toolbar, apparel, hamburger blowout. If you're mobile, apparel. Pick up your apparel today. Why get one if you can get 2, 3, or 4? Check it out, elitefts.com.
Hey, if somebody dies, you know, your lack of action.
Yeah, I ain't no firefighter, bro.
So what are the things that you have in your head?
I can't say.
Yeah, you can.
All right. Well, one of them is on a YouTube. I know we keep plugging it, but one of them is on the YouTube where we're doing the stone to shoulder.
Oh, that's
and
dumbass.
I have
Now I remember.
And I hadn't figured out. It's one of the events for the Arnold where you have to do an Atlas stone without tacky, put it up, and then put on your shoulder, one hand off. I hadn't figured out the technique yet, so I was just hucking it, and I was getting it up on my shoulder, and like the turf is like a sacred space. If you dent the turf, Tim will dent your head. Mm-hmm. Okay, so like I'm getting the stone up on my shoulder. I have no idea what I'm really doing. I'm just being an asshole, and it goes over my shoulder, lands on the turf, dents it straight away. The next set, same exact thing, but I'm like, okay, I'm not getting in trouble. I'm not denting the turf, so I try and catch it on my back as it's rolling off. I catch it on my back, and then I like do like a Harlem Globetrotter
trick. He had no idea what he was doing in this.
I did like a Harlem Globetrotter trick where I like rolled it across my back, just like a 300-pound stone. So like roll it across my back,
275,
down my fingertips onto the pad, and I saved it.
Yeah,
and I still got chewed out.
That was a stupid one he did.
That could be a special exercise, though.
Yeah.
He forgot to mention we just spent $50,000 to get that to him. That's what he doesn't understand. This shit costs money.
There's a few of those.
Yeah. What's another one? You said there's two.
Yeah. You got any? Because I've got videos of some of these too. We were setting up. This didn't damage any property. Okay, thank God. This is like one of the only ones that didn't damage property. Okay. So I think we were prepping for the Arnold Amateur last year, and we were doing there's like a bag carry into like a yoke drag. I have a video. I'll send it to you so you can have it. But
he forgets to put collars on top of this to hold the straps down, so when he goes to drag the yoke, so the rope pops off the front of the yoke, he goes flying,
and I do like a backflip onto the turf, and just
rung
my bell pretty good.
Okay, I'm confused. So you see that as an issue, but the wrestling's not.
No, man,
that's bonding.
Yeah, that's brotherly love right there.
Explain this.
Yeah, I can't explain it. I can't, and the truth of the fact is I'm too old to even try to understand this shit.
They were trying to get Tim in on wrestling me.
Hey, shit, I got common sense. That boy's 400 pounds with a wrestling background. I ain't fucking with him.
But
is there anything different that you had to do with him preparing for this show?
With them?
Yeah.
Oh,
because it is indoors, it's shorter distances.
Yeah, it's just a heavier show, but we've done heavy shows. Like the Shaw Classic was extremely heavy. One thing we have been toying around with this last year, I would say, believe it or not, it may sound counterintuitive to most people, is we've started to kind of front load a little bit of the accessory work. Almost kind of like, I'm old school 2000 elite fitness website every single day dude. So believe it or not, I had one of Chuck Vogelpohl's DVDs, and there's not a lot of commentary in it, but one thing I always remembered about it is the amount of work he did before he started squatting. Like he would do tons of pull downs and sometimes rows, and if I'm not mistaken, some like landmine RDLs. But anyways, I kind of stole that from him. And then, years later, Matt Winning started to really talk about his winning warm-up. But I really took Chuck as an example early on, and we did a very, very thorough warm-up. Most of the time when I start coaching people, they're so pissed about the warm-up. Like they get mad, they feel fatigued, and they're tired, and now I can't even do anything, and blah, blah, blah. But in time, you get conditioned for it, and you have to be smart with the approach. But what's different about, I would say, the last year or so is I've literally put some accessory movements before we get to the main work. And what I kind of like about it, number one, is everything's totally activated if they're taking the frame of mind that I really want them to. Everything's activated completely. Everything's firing completely. Blood flow is there. We're getting a little bit of hypertrophy work, at least further down the prep. It may be, 3 to 4 different exercises for 2 to 3 rounds of anywhere from 10 to 15 reps. I don't go as high as Winning. I think he does like 25, but and most of those are just sheer bodybuilding style movements. But what we did as we started to get closer to the actual contest is we kept that same kind of template of front loading some movements, but they turned into more dynamic type movements, box jumps, run rocket sprints, partial front squats with chains, like in a dynamic effort style. You know what I mean? So this is different. This is new. One thing about these dudes that I have to really kind of always keep in the back of my mind is that the weights that they're using are really hard to fathom, and so easily could get somebody hurt at any time. So one thing I put above all else is just keeping these guys healthy, That's always the foremost, most important thing for me. And I really think front loading some work before you get to the meat and potatoes main movements has really served us well.
It's sick. Like what I've noticed in the last year doing that is that it's saved us from when we actually get to that main movements that we're a little bit fatigued, that we really can't push those high numbers to put us in that like detrimental area where it might be a risk. So our RPE range, we're still hitting RPE range, but it's not.
The weights are less.
The weights are less.
Yeah.
We're getting.
And it kind of simulates that fatigued feeling that you'd have on a day 2 or day 3 of a show also. And on top of that, you can, if you do our event work first and you're clapped out from heavy event work, you're going to be dragging your feet doing accessory work because now you're mentally deactivated. Like you're not engaged. You don't have that, that carrot at the end of the tunnel to be excited about, the event work. So if you front load the event work, you're going to be tired, you're going to be mentally exhausted by the end, and you're not going to take the accessories seriously. But if you do them first and you front load them, you'll be very conscious of what you're doing. You're very engaged, and it's basically like ramping up the mental activation to get to the big event work. And then when you're done with the event work, then you can just go home and
that's the best part now. Now it's like now I'm not like, because before you beat up you would push it during the event work, and then you're like, damn, I got to do all this accessories, and then I got to do
plank spot,
and then I got to do conditioning, and then I go home. Now it's like, all right, we're done, clean up, get home. Like that's how it's been a really big.
And then one other bonus that I didn't realize would happen is I would always put in the notes like, hey, very light, like this is activation, blood flow. But I think when it's front loaded before the event work, they inherently want to keep it light because they know if
they don't screw the events up.
Exactly. Yeah. So there are a lot more, there's no ego involved with the accessory movements when they're front loaded. So that's something new that we've kind of been playing with this last year that I think it's helped. They've looked good. They're, like I said, they're stronger than they've ever been.
But it's interesting because we'll do like our normal, like general warm up, and then we'll do like a cardio 10-minute little circuit, and then we'll do another like accessory circuit warm up, activate. It's like it looks funny on paper, but it's legit. I think it works, and I think I prefer it because it looks like you're doing an activation circuit, then a little bit of cardio, then more activation and cardio, and then events.
Well, what it is they come in, instead of just spending 10 minutes on an assault bike, we'll hit an assault bike, we'll hit the ski erg, what is it, air squats
or lunges, and then we'll do like high knees, and then
jumping jacks,
some butt kickers,
but just something to get their core temperature up. Then they get into more of their whatever movements they think is going to help them with mobility, 50-50s, split squats. They have their own things they really like to do for mobility,
Jefferson curls,
and then we get into the accessory kind of circuit. So it's a lot, but at the end of the day, they have to be firing on all cylinders when they get up to 900-pound yoke runs or 400-pound stones. And
so how will that play out when they get into a show?
They're just better conditioned. Way better condition. And
but they won't have all that stuff before.
Well, they won't have the same equipment, but we still take our time and thoroughly warm up. We bring what we need to bring.
Okay.
Yeah. We want to make it.
It's a condensed version of it.
Yeah. We try to make it like a workout. I want them to have the same feel before we, start touching the implement. So we have a whole list of things we get through before they even go out there.
Yeah.
And how does that play into when these shows are multiple days?
So after that first event, believe it or not, in my experience, and they could speak to it better, most of the time they're pretty warmed up. It's usually that first event. We got to take our time, really warm up.
Well, there's another day, and then it can be another day.
Yeah.
Right? We learned that last year at Worlds, when it was a 4-day show, ended up being 12 events total. That was a little bit of a we're in it.
Crazy.
We went to 4 days a week. We'd always train 3 days a week. And then we went to 4 days a week that time. And so we'd have like more like conjugate style, max effort days, dynamic days, to where our first 2 days would be upper, lower, heavier event days. And then we'd have accessory dynamic days, Friday, Saturday. And since it would be kind of light, we could go like Friday evening, Saturday morning to get that work. So that's how we kind of got ready for the 4-day event kind of stuff.
There's also like a skill of doing those multi-day shows of like, as soon as you're done with one event, shut down completely, like get off your feet, get out of the sun, hydrate, relax, like mentally, like come down. And you know, you do that after every single event, you save enough energy to survive those 2, 3, 4 day shows. So that's also a skill that you have to kind of learn, that just comes with show experience.
How long did it take you to learn that?
A long time, 3, 4 years.
Yeah.
It was my first, in 2022, my first showing at OSG is when I really like had to figure that out, because they had, I think it's like 500 total athletes.
Yeah.
And so you're trying to do 4 events per day with 500 athletes across 12 weight classes. So you do one event at 8 a.m. and then your next event isn't until 1 o'clock or something, or noon.
You learn.
So you're sitting.
You learn to manage adrenaline dumps.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna happen, and if you're up all the time, you're not gonna be tired from lifting weights. You'd be tired just from being up,
getting hyped up. Yeah. So just come back as soon as literally like you finish the event, you just,
it's done.
Let it decompress, let it go, let the fire go, let the hype go back, listen to some chill music, read a book, whatever, just take your mind off it, eat, snack, you know, and then when it's time to warm up, still stay calm. And then just before you go out, that's when you light back up.
Now there's another side of this whole sport, well, especially for you guys, where I guess you would call it professional eating.
Yeah.
So
that's the full-time job.
That's the full-time job.
That's the full-time job. Yeah, that's the key.
What does that look like, and how do you manage that?
So we both work with Nathan Payton now.
Yeah.
And so I was at Vegas when I pulled the 1,000. I was actually 420 pounds, about 415, I don't know, because I stopped going on the scale. It just started to scare me. But after that show, he started working with him about 3 months before, and I like, just in the competitiveness he is, I saw him like start skyrocketing in his physique, his conditioning, everything, and his numbers start going up after being in the gym for 4 years. Like, oh shit, I gotta. So I was like, I'm like figuring out how I'm gonna get some of these winnings to start paying for Peyton, and so I hopped on that, and I really learned in the last 3 months I've been working with him, like totally lifestyle change, learning how to eat 5 times a day, learning how to eat clean.
Which is more volume of food though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He's eating more than he ever has. He's losing weight and getting stronger.
I lost 30 pounds. That's what I'm saying. I've lost 30 pounds and I've gotten stronger.
Yeah. But it's a full-time job. It's every 2.5 hours, you're getting a full meal in again. And you got to kind of train your body to do that. So it's, you wake up, you
gotta eat.
2.5 hours later, you're eating again.
If you wait to eat, you're gonna be up till 10 o'clock getting all your food in. And that's
so you got to get up and it's on it. And for me, it takes 30 minutes or something to get a meal down. So then you've got basically just an hour to do what you need to do until you got to focus and get that next meal down, because it's a big quantity of food. Like 12 to 16 ounces of meat. That's a lot of meat. Plus whatever accessories, vegetables, and carbs that he gives you. It's a big volume. So you got to get it down and get ready for the next meal.
So how's it get towards the last meal?
So honestly, towards the end of the day, it gets easier because you kind of like,
we also work out.
Yeah, your metabolism kind of kicks on
after 5. So
yeah, for me, breakfast is the hardest one because your metabolism's real low. Like you're just kind of off. You're cold. But once that digestion system's kicked on and it's working, it'll just, and because he's giving you foods that are easy to digest and that you kind of get used to eating, it makes it so that you can, like, your metabolism can chew through that food really easy so that you're ready for that next meal. So it's not like an accumulating fullness. Like you really, like, it's out of your stomach quick so you can get that next meal.
The first 2 weeks to 3 weeks was hard in terms of like,
well, I was going to ask you because you can still
transitions.
Yeah. But I'm to the point where I was almost asking for more food because I was like, it was wild to me. Like 2 hours and 30 minutes on the dot, my stomach is going, you're like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Like that was nuts for me.
But it's basically like teaching your body not to hold on to the fat because it knows it's going to get fed at exactly those intervals. So you'll see people who have like 1 or 2 big meals a day, their metabolism's slowing down because their body's like trying to go into survival mode for 6-8 hours.
So it's not burning nothing.
Yeah, you're not getting any intake. So when you get that intake and you're giving your body everything you need at those specific time intervals, you're basically teaching your body, okay, I don't need to hold on to these calories. I know it's coming in the next meal. I know I'm going to get as much protein as I need. And you cycle through those carbs appropriately, and you're going to gain muscle and lose weight and get stronger.
Hey guys, if you're enjoying what you're watching, make sure to take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe.
You use it.
Because your metabolism is going to forcefully get kicked on.
Is there anything he throws into the program that you guys see and you think, fuck, I wish that wasn't have to do this?
Didn't have to do the 14 ounces of beef.
No. Training.
Oh, Tim?
Yeah.
Tim? Oh my
God, dude, there's so much.
All right, so I don't all right, I don't know, and I'm glad I'm on Table Talk to say this, because I don't know if there's really a name for this, but we're gonna name it the Ingram set, because it's an EMOM and you start at 5 reps, and every set you add a rep.
It's every second minute, every second.
No, we've done 1 minute.
We've done
Bro, no. It's impossible.
No.
Hold on. It's impossible. If you start at 5 to get to 10, you can't do that every minute.
You had to do a shit.
No, because no, word. You did it. You did the whole thing, but it was 500 pounds.
Yeah.
You ain't do that shit every minute.
Okay.
That was
so every second minute EMOM, we start at 5. The next one you do 6. The next one you do 7. The next one you get to that 10, 11. You're
so brutal.
You're seeing Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
It is bad. Everything's lit up. There's a point where you're just like, forget about technique. I just need to get these reps. Like,
because it's exponential in difficulty. Like you're
losing time
and up.
Oh, you're losing time.
Well, because it's on every second minute. You're going again on the next up rep.
So
every set you do another rep, you get less rest.
You get to a point where you're physically go like, I'm not going to be able to recover fast enough for the next set.
I'm going to die on the next one. You're like at 6. You're like, yeah, I'm dead at 8.
Yeah,
what's happening?
And it's like it's on the ATP, and it'll be something easy in the hands. It'll be like 400 in the hands, and then he'll have 200 in the hips.
Yeah. Usually we take about 40% of whatever's on the bar.
And so it's like your first 5 rounds. All right, this is good.
This is easy.
6. Oh yeah, it's fine. 7. Oh shit.
A little burn.
8. Oof, I don't know, like 9, 10, and then you're like it's
fighting for the life.
Talk about like hardest things I've ever done in the gym. It had to have been one of those, because you get done, and like I've been in wrestling to where you can wring your shirt out, kind of sweat. I got to that point off of 10 minutes of work. That was ridiculous.
And because the ATP is so good at like keeping you in that perfect position with the belt, like you have no choice. You can't cheat.
You can't use your back more than your glutes. You have to, everything is firing correctly. And then too,
and you've tried, I assume.
Oh yeah. I'm the king of trying to see.
And then, and then too, he's in the back, he wants to
pause, unload the rep.
Silent reps, like the bar hits where so you're just like, you want to bounce it so badly. He's in the back, like, don't you do it, so. Yeah, that was probably
that ATP is like one of the most underrated things.
Yeah,
I really think so. Like, we take full advantage of it. But if there's any gym owners or strength coaches out there, and you got athletes, I really believe in ATP deadlifts a lot. It's the only way I deadlift nowadays. Yeah. Straight up.
It's part of almost with the hip marches. We do a ton of shit in ATP.
So what's the reason you put this protocol in?
Just to screw with us.
Because he hates us.
What he's talking about at this time is more, we were kind of off season, just volume, work capacity. But what else, one of the funnest things about preparing strongman athletes for contests is it's not like powerlifting. Like, I've coached a ton of powerlifters, and you're just so restricted. But in strongman, there's no facet of fitness you can leave undertrained. Like, you have to be able to work sometimes at their level. Wasn't Shaw's time limit on one of those events like 75 seconds or 90 seconds?
The press medley at the Arnold this weekend is 2 minutes.
Yeah, 2 minutes. Meaning, like, you got to have extremely high work capacity and aerobic capacity and anaerobic capacity, and so we get to really play around with those type of modalities. So anyways, when I prescribe something like that's what there's we're getting work capacity, we're getting some hypertrophy work, we're testing his metal a little bit, there's a lot.
Are you laughing when you're putting this down?
No,
come on.
And this is the truth, Dave. No bullshit.
Like, this gonna fuck them up.
He does before we get it, he's done it.
Yeah.
I do everything. I'm like, I'll do something. I'm so neurotic about shit. I'll do something every day. every day for months just to see what happens. You know what I mean? So by the time they've done it, unless it's like a damn block press or a circuit, I'm not, some of that shit I'm just not going to do. Straight up. But when it comes to other things, like by the time I give it to them, I've already done it 20, 30 times.
Yeah.
And I really feel the benefit of it. You know, I don't care about my body. I'm just trying to stay in shape and look good and feel good, you know?
Yeah. We'll come into the gym and we'll see Tim like upside down and backwards on a GHR doing some deadlift crazy thing or like some like neck curl. And we know, like, we'll look at each other and be like, oh shit, that's coming in our,
only a matter of time.
that's coming. Some version of this hellscape is going to be in our program here very soon. But that's what we call him, the mad scientist, because we'll come in and he's doing some crazy drag or like he's, you know, using some machine, like he's in the back attack backwards, like doing bench press in the damn back attack. And we're like, oh,
but
shit.
I mean, that's the thing with the gym too, is like, because the space is limited, every piece of equipment that's in there is like, it's got to serve multiple purposes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he's figuring everything out that we can do with everything.
Yeah.
And which is awesome because like like a reverse hyper with the GHR is not just a reverse hyper to GHR. We're doing the reverse hyper deadlifts off of it. We're doing like, it's everything. One piece of equipment we can do so much with, which is accessory wise is awesome.
Anything that you wish you programmed in more frequently?
Split squats. I think heavy split squats.
Shut up.
Hey, he said,
What the fuck?
hey,
Hey, I think, I mean, I've been giving it to my guys, and I think it's so useful. You know what I mean? And I feel like we've been getting so much from those Bulgarian Smith machine split squats.
yeah.
Oh, those
That-
are dirty.
I feel like if we just do like, you know, just heavy dumbbells and hands.
Yeah. No, I'm all for it. I love split squats.
Big.
How do you program in the Bulgarian Smith machines?
No, the
Part of our
RDLs, the RDLs
They're RDLs, yeah.
Oh, single leg RDLs on the Smith machine.
Smith, yeah.
Yeah, that's like a little hidden jewel too. That shit will fry your posterior chain with really no stress on the back, contingent on really being strict with loading. Like what I tell them is we're not going to pull from the pins. Like our Smith machine rests on pretty high pins, maybe mid shin. I want them to load until it breaks the pin and just continue with that force. And if you do every rep like that, it's something terrible.
Like we could put
the
tens on and we'll be destroyed after 5 or 6
I think
reps.
the most I've ever put on that specific
20
exercise is 50 pounds.
Yeah.
The most. And
But it's so like you're being so methodical on like deadlift chest position, building that tension, keeping that hip high, but the heel dug into the ground, slowly pushing through it, building through it. It's all about just finding that tension and building through it. And then you're coming up and squeezing through that hamstring glute tension.
and that hamstring's on fire.
Yeah.
Stupid.
So it's huge.
Dave, you see how he can articulate the exercise like that?
Mm-hmm.
Like
That's his words playing in my head.
but that's why they're so good. Not everybody's going to be that thoughtful about every rep.
No, they're going to get in there and try to put a
That's
on each
and
side.
if anybody takes anything, like if they have aspirations of being better, that's what they should take from these guys. They're thoughtful about every single rep because it's going to have an effect one way or the other. Either it's going to aid in you getting stronger or it's going to impede on your recovery.
Mm-hmm.
One of the two. So we only do things that we think are going to get ourselves stronger.
What are some other jewels like that?
The ATG split squats that's a staple of the warm up too. So it's heel, front leg up. So it's another split squat variation, but you're kind of going on the anterior chain. So you got one heel slightly elevated on like maybe just like a 6-8 inch box, nice wide stance, and then you're bringing your hips down forward into like a deep lunge, but you're kind of swooping your hips forward into like a really deep knee flexion. And then you're pushing down through the heel to activate that quad to come up. It's almost like what are those banded knee extensions? TKEs, yeah. It's almost like doing that, but with just body weight, and you're getting balance. You're getting that deep knee stretch that you don't really get from a TKE because you're standing, right? So you get this big deep lunge, and then the activation all the way through the range of motion.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like those are huge. I use those. It keeps my knees and ankles super healthy.
We just recently in the gym got a back attack. I've always wanted one since we've had the gym. I think that thing's unbelievable. I think it's just a jewel of a piece of equipment. So we've been using that a lot. I think these guys probably use a Smith machine more than people would ever imagine. Yeah. We believe in the Smith machine a lot. For accessory movements, I love the fact that there's no finesse with the Smith machine. Whatever force you generate is going into that bar. Yeah. And it's just an easy way to make sure you're pushing the musculature, getting that full contraction in whatever you do. So,
but especially with the press movements that we do in strongman, they're always, way out up in space, and there's so much stability that you can't really a lot of times you can't really focus on just pure power through the full range of motion. So like doing those Smith machine movements, you can just worry about how much force you can generate without having to worry about stability or the line of the lift.
Yeah. So. The one exercise that I wish you would program more that I haven't really touched in a while, but we figured a way to do reverse band overhead press in the rig that we have, and that one because you can put weight on, and there's a meathead in me that wants to put weight on, and then we can. But I don't really see a lot of people ever really do that. Yeah, and then so you can kind of get the confidence of having that heavy weight in your hands, but without really killing yourself too. Yeah. I wish he would throw that more in. But
yeah, we use a lot of accommodating resistance. Yeah. We're big believers in that, especially for this sport.
Why? Or let me reframe that. How did you come to that conclusion?
You can't stay off the gas.
Huh?
You can't stay off the gas. You have to go.
Well, that's definitely one of the reasons. The other thing I caught on to right away is that a lot of what they do, the real stress is at the top end of the lift. A lot of times the deadlifts are from a partial range of motion. If you ever watch a heavy log press or axle press, it's going to be the leg drive, the hip drive that gets it off their shoulders. But they're going to stall out midway up when they have to drive with the arms, just so there's when you think about the nature of a stone clean, you have to be very explosive. You have to triple extend at the top. It just teaches you force production throughout the rep. Maybe the biggest benefit to accommodating resistance that nobody talks about is that at the bottom end of the lift, where you're most susceptible to probably getting hurt, it's the easiest. So you can really get the feel of, like he said, some real weight. Meanwhile, be technically sound and have the confidence to be technically sound at the bottom of the lift. I like it for I don't, and then psychologically too, like he said with the reverse band overhead presses. One of my favorite exercises is reverse band deadlifts because you actually get to put the goal weight on the bar or above it, and we've gotten so good at it to where I know if they're using short red mini bands at knee height, if they can pull that, it's done deal, so there's a lot of ways to use accommodating resistance, but specifically in strongman, I think it's a tool everybody should be using. That straight weight beats you up. It really does. If you're just going heavy all the time, it's only a matter of time.
Well, it sounds like your way of getting around that is not only just the accommodating resistance, but the focus tension movements.
Word. Oh, let me say one more.
That lowers load.
Yeah. It lowers load. Damn, I had a good point. There was one other thing I really like about accommodating resistance. Sometimes you can get, and I know I suffered with this when I was younger, trying to be as strong as possible, but sometimes you can kind of get neurotic about the numbers you're lifting. This should have felt like this. It felt slow today. Or, man, fuck, I wanted to pull this, but I could tell I'm not going to be able to because it felt like this. Sometimes I'll throw a weird combination of accommodating resistance on there, a reverse band red with 2 chains, just so they have no idea what it really is. And so there's a psychological factor of not caring what's on the bar.
You're really just pushing stimulus. You're not pushing numbers. Yeah, that's the biggest thing for me. Accommodating resistance, if anything, is just learn to stay on the gas. And it's to stay, you get caught in those little mini maxes or whatever, and you just you stall out. But there's really nothing that if I feel it, I know it's going up. Because I know I can stay on the gas through the whole lift, whether how long the concentric is, 5 seconds, 10 seconds. I'm gonna pull through it or push through it.
What was the motivation for you guys to put together the YouTube channel?
We're just, mind you, our camera guy is 17 years old and high school kid, and really it just kind of all worked out where he's like, hey man, I'll film you.
That it literally
basically just film what you already.
It's just us doing our normal workouts that just happen to be filmed. Because this kid Cody, he just loves it, man. He wants to do that. That's his passion. And he was like, yeah, I'll get some experience with you guys, help you grow your channel. And I feel like people want to see it. I feel like there's some personality in strongman, but there's no real entertainment in strongman. And I feel like we bring that. I feel like that's something that's special that we bring.
Comedy,
some comedy, some it's like stand-up comedy, but like we can also throw down some weight, you know what I mean? Like we're also serious.
And you're not forcing it. That's like,
it's just
and so we're not really too much on, we got to film this. If it happens naturally, organically, we'll do it. Yeah. I'm not trying to like make this a stress. You know what I mean? I'm definitely not making this stress. So if it takes off, it takes off. It doesn't. At the end of the day,
I mean, either way, we're probably going to still do it just because it's fun. It's like fun. The content's there anyway.
Oh, I like looking back and just laughing at
it. It's fun.
Like, that's really what it is.
Yeah. And I feel like it's nice to have, because like we have all like years and years of training videos.
Yeah.
But we don't have years and years of videos of us talking shit and having fun.
There's a lot of good times that weren't filmed. So
so I feel like it'd be nice. It's nice to just, in 10 years go back and look and be like, we had a fucking good time doing this shit,
Because this ain't gonna last forever.
Yeah.
I don't plan on lifting weights like this forever.
Yep.
Well, that brings up a question there, is that when is it done?
When health is,
I know how that works.
When health is, I guess when health is like, is in the way of it. Like if it's, because I don't, I got a wife and I'd rather live with her longer, you know what I mean? Like I'm not, this is lifting weights and it is what it is. Like it's a luxury. Like how many people actually get to lift weights? So they got a job they can't lift weights in, or they can't enjoy a gym, or so, I got a very special situation where I got a job that pays the bills. I get to go hang out with my best friends and I get to lift weights, and it's a blessing. So I'm not.
Well, at the pro level, you get physicals all the time too, so you'll know when something goes.
Yeah, so something wrong. Yeah. So, but yeah, I think that's kind of. I feel like everyone's kind of have a. There's markers out there that kind of tell you when the end is coming, and when it does, it is what it is. But I'm gonna have fun while I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm. Any topics you guys wanted to go over I didn't bring up?
I just want to mention real quickly, not to wrap it up or nothing, but this is just such a surreal thing, at least for me.
Yeah, like, same here.
I was going to say, Dave, although you didn't know me in the beginning, I opened my gym up through Elite Fitness, essentially. Like I bought maybe 100% of the things to open up heavy metal through Elite Fitness. Over I was just telling them in the car, like I had X amount of money and I knew I needed to spend every cent of it the right way. So I didn't order anything on the website. I called Matt and I probably bugged the shit out of him for like 3 or 4 weeks because I was just so scared to make this purchase. But you guys have been with me every step of the way. I started off really small, 2,000 square feet. I think my order, the entire gym cost $20,000. I didn't have much. And now, 10, 11 years later, and it wasn't even supposed to be a gym. It was really just supposed to be a damn personal training studio.
Yeah.
But 10, 11 years later, I'm with my brothers going to the Arnold Classic. A few weeks from now, we'll all be at World's Strongest Man. And had you told me that this was going to be the reality of what I'd be doing back then, I would have thought it was just virtually impossible. I didn't even really know that strongman was a competitive sport outside of World's Strongest Man when I opened up the gym. So I just feel really blessed. I'm really proud of these dudes, man. Like when it comes to what I'm most happy about, like this shit is cool. The Arnold's cool. The World's Strongest Man is cool. But what I'm really happy about is, as an older guy, like I know how this is going to affect the rest of their life. They're gonna be prideful about these days for forever. And when they have kids, their kids are going to be prideful about it. And that's what makes me happy. It's just I know this is special for them. And how many people get to live out their dreams at this magnitude? For most people, and most people that even love the sport of strongman, they'll have no opportunity to be in this position. None. So I'm just thankful. I'm proud of these dudes, man. They've put in more work than people will know. They never miss. They never miss. Whether it's 3 times a week, 4 times a week, they're there. They're there together. How many times have you? Well, you're from West Side, so it's not worth it.
No, but it's rare.
But to have a dependable person like that in your corner,
and we came up from zero.
Miss.
Like we both came up from zero at the same time. We were both doing novice level shows at the same time.
I never did a novice show. We'll just put that on record.
But like we were novice. Like if amateurs are going to nationals, we were both novices at the same time.
No, there was no special role for us. We came up with the rest.
Well, how have you kept it together? Right? Because it's 6 years?
Oh,
you can't tell me there's been times where you're like,
I'm not going to let him beat me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that's it. I think it comes out just the pure competitiveness.
Yeah.
And I don't, I don't want to be the guy that lets anyone down. There's the old sports in me kind of thing, playing on a football team.
Yeah.
So you match that with loving what I'm doing. Like, I'm going to show up and give 110% every single time. So
yeah,
it's fun.
Yeah.
I watch this table talk and now I'm sitting at it. Like, that's what's unreal to me. You know what I mean? Like, I was watching it 6 years ago when I was so green to weightlifting when I first got into, like, I thought I knew it. Oh yeah, I lifted in college. I did all this, whatever. And then I got to heavy metal and realized, I don't know jack shit. I don't know jack shit about weightlifting. This is like, I didn't know about powerlifting. I knew about strongman because on TV. I didn't know nothing. And so I fell in love with it. I started deep diving, same thing with him. Like, he told me about Elite FTS. I saw all the Elite FTS equipment in the gym. So I just hopped on the website and I started reading articles. I started watching the table talk. And then, like I said, I'm sitting right here with my boys, like, talking to Dave Tate. That's fucking nuts to me.
And we got here from just goofing off and lifting in the gym. You know what I mean? Just like hanging out, being boys for 6 years. That's like, it's like such a strange, like, way to progress and pay your dues, just hanging out with your friends and
because it's so fun. That's why we're able to stay consistent.
Yeah.
What advice would you give people just getting into strongman? Not just getting in, they're in strongman, but they want to get serious about it, because there's the hobby of strongman, right? But then there's that point where it clicks. Like, I really want to be serious about this. What advice would you have for them?
Make sure you got a support system. Make sure all your things outside the gym are clicking 100%, because you see Tim here, you see Nick here, but my wife is my rock at home. You know what I mean? Like, I come home to her and she has to see me outside the gym, so she gets all the good and the bad. You know what I mean? So that, my parents, all my family, like, they've been supported from the start. So they'll come to shows. Like, it's got to be your support system. And luckily, I got a gym that's, the support system's crazy. And then, like, you talk about training partner, like, it's not a toxic environment. So, like, I don't ever feel alone, ever. No matter what I'm doing, I never feel alone. And even in a show, we're going to be competing against each other. I don't feel alone. So I think that's the biggest thing, is just to make sure you got a support system to make sure that you can focus 100% on your nutrition, your programming, your lifting.
And I think it's really true that you'll never be great unless you surround yourself with greatness. Like, I've surrounded myself with the best coach I could find, the best training partner I could find, the best dietitian I could find. And I think you have to understand that you're not gonna be able to do it alone. There's no way. Like, there's so many aspects to the sport that you have to nail. I think it's impossible. I mean, personally, I think it's impossible to do it alone. Even Brian Shaw, who trained in his own garage gym, he talks about his wife being his person. You know what I mean? Like, he wouldn't have been able to do it without her. So, it could be one or many for different people depending on their situation, but you have to surround yourself with greatness. You have to embody that mindset, and you have to make those people proud. And then you have to just keep working. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Don't try and take the easy roads. Do the work, and good things will come.
What advice would you have
for somebody that wants to be?
They want to commit to strongman.
I think Nick hit on something that I think a lot of people need to hear. This is like a real process, and it's going to take time. And it takes time to figure out how to train correctly. It takes time to figure out how to compete correctly. Not all things are going to go well. You might get nicked up here and there. Like, you just got to understand that this is like a journey that's going to take several years if you really want to be good at it. There's no shortcuts to it. That's kind of the beauty of it. Every contest is totally different. The equipment's totally different. The competition's totally different. Your performance is going to be totally different. You just got to be in. You got to commit. You got to commit and use every day as an opportunity to get better, whether it's in the gym, like they're doing now with their nutrition. Every meal should be focused on getting better. It depends. I haven't met too many people that really want to be at this level. I've met a lot of people that think they do, but they don't. I could see it in the way they train. They don't. Or I could see it in the fact that they think they have it figured out. Me personally, I get a lot of respect within the strongman community now for being a coach, but there's several things that I just can't coach. And I'm going to defer to somebody that's a lot better than me. When it came to throwing sandbags, I brought in somebody. If it comes to, anything that I don't feel confident in, I'm going to go either learn from somebody or have them come in and help these guys. So you're not going to know everything, and even up to this point, we're still tweaking, still figuring things out, still evolving, we'll never try to, now we're fighting for 0.5% here and there. And we're going to continue to make mistakes, and we're going to continue to kick ass too. It's all part of the journey. And I'm grateful for every minute of it, because shit, I did this to help regular ass people. I never thought I'd be a damn world's strongest man. You know what I mean? So, I would just say, be humble, be willing to learn. Like they said, surround yourself around people that have your best interest. Maybe even get around some people that have been in the places you hope to be in one day. I think that counts for a lot too, because experience is ultimately the best. Everything's theoretical until the shit happens. You gotta go through it.
Yeah, there was a couple of years where we were just bugging Trey and Gabe Pena to just let's come learn from you. Let's come hang out with you. Let's come
that we were constantly bugging.
Yeah.
And we travel 6 hours to go train with them.
To go do one session with them, yeah.
How can people go about finding y'all?
Well, I'm on Instagram mainly, Smash Andrade. And then we got the YouTube channel, Texas Boys, Strongman. So check us out.
I'm Nick Guardione, all one word on Instagram, all lowercase. And then, we're focusing a lot on the YouTube. We're really enjoying doing it. We're really liking the feedback. We're going to be dropping a shirt soon, a Texas Boys shirt soon. Mm-hmm. That's going to be fun. I think it looks pretty sweet.
Yep.
And then he is heavy metal. Yeah.
So you could follow, not myself, but the gym and everybody involved with it. By the way, big shout out to our family back home. Yep. Everybody involved with heavy metal. Massive love. But anyway, everything that revolves around heavy metal is at Heavy Metal Fit. So heavymetalfit.com. At Heavy Metal Fit is our IG. Heavy Metal Fit is the name we use for everything.
All right. Well, I want to thank you guys for coming out. This has been great, and we're done.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for having us, brother.
All content you see on this channel and at elitefts.com is created by, take a guess, Elite FTS. If you want to help support the content, head over to elitefts.com and pick up literally anything that you need to be able to get more jacked and strong.